the young, and the restless. Spoilers recap. Saturdays, the 27th of June, 2026. Welcome back to our channel, guys. Today is Tuesday, a beautiful day to dive into the absolute madness happening in Genoa City. We have so much to unpack today, and honestly, my head is spinning from all the twists and turns the writers are throwing at us right now. Let's just jump right into the deep end because things are getting incredibly wild. So let's just start with the most uncomfortable moment of the week. Jack Abbott and Patty Williams. I mean, what are we even doing here? Jack Abbott actually kissed Patty passionately, and I am still trying to scrub the image from my brain, honestly. But let's back up a second and look at how we got to this weird, weird place. Jack is desperate. He is so desperate to find Diane, and he knows Patty is the key to all of this. So he's playing this dangerous, dangerous game. He tells Billy about meeting Dr. Markham. And Billy, who usually makes the worst decisions ever, is actually the voice of reason here for once. Billy is like, wait, that's Patty's therapist. What are you doing? And Jack reveals that he actually had Kyle track Markham to a place near Powers Lake, which is smart. Finally, someone in this family is using their brain, but Billy asks if Jack is going to break into the house. And Jack's response, he reminds Billy about how they all searched for him on that yacht. He has to do the same for his wife. He just has to. And then Patty shows up. Of course she does. She is just hovering like a dark cloud over the Abbott mansion these days. She asks what Jack and Billy were talking about. Jack threatens her. He literally says if she harms one hair on Diane's head, he will make her regret it for the rest of her life. Which, okay, tough guy Jack is great and all, but Patty doesn't care about threats. She lives in her own reality. She just smiles. She smiles, that creepy Patty smile, and says, "There you are. This is the man I know and love." Like, what? She is so delusional. She asks why he won't make her forget her bad thoughts. And Jack just goes for it. He grabs her and kisses her. Hard, like a full-on, passionate kiss. I was screaming at my screen. What is he thinking? But then you realize it's a distraction. It's totally a distraction because right after the kiss, he tells her to make them a martini. And while she's distracted making drinks, he sneaks out the front door. He just bolts. It's so messy. It's so incredibly messy and clunky. But it worked. He's on his way to Powers Lake. But Patty isn't completely stupid. She realizes he's gone and immediately calls Dr. Markham. She warns him. She says they might be in trouble and that Jack might be heading his way. So now the clock is ticking, and meanwhile, poor Diane. Okay, I know we all have mixed feelings about Diane. She has done some terrible things in the past, faked her own death, manipulated everyone, but seeing her like this, it's actually heartbreaking. Maybe I'm being too soft on her, but no one deserves this. She is lying on the couch crying her eyes out. Markham comes in and plays the sympathetic doctor. He tells her that Jack's betrayal was cruel and that she's reliving it. He is gaslighting her so hard. It is psychological torture, pure torture. Diane asks for sleeping pills. She is so broken she just wants to sleep to escape the nightmare. She tells him she keeps having this nightmare that Patty is in her house, taking her place. And what does Markham do after he gets off the phone with Patty? He turns to Diane and tells her that her worst nightmare just came true. He tells her Patty moved in with Jack at his request. Boom, just destroying her will to live. So while all that hostage drama is happening, we have a massive, massive medical crisis over at the hospital. Nikki Newman, Guys, I am so worried about Nikki. We knew she was having these terrible headaches. We knew Victor was using those headaches to drug her and steal her Newman Enterprises shares, which, by the way, is still one of the most evil things Victor has ever done. But now, it turns out it's not just a headache, it's a tumor on her optic nerve. Victor gets a voicemail. He calls Nate Hastings back, and Nick walks in. Nick asks what's going on, and Victor just drops the bomb. Your mother is very sick. He tells Nick she has a tumor and could go blind. Blind. Nikki Newman going blind. Can you imagine? The writers are really putting her through the ringer this year. Cut to the hospital room. Nikki is lying there, and she looks so fragile. Nikki never looks fragile. She is always so put together, so strong. But right now, she is terrified. She tells Victoria that her symptoms are getting worse. The room is getting blurry. It's getting darker and darker. She asks Victoria, what if it's too late? What if my vision never clears up? It is so sad. Victoria is trying to be strong. Victoria is holding it together for her mom. She tells Nikki they need to call Victor. The neurologist comes in and Nikki tells him everything is going dark. And the doctor says the tumor needs to be removed immediately, like right now, as soon as possible. But here's the kicker. Here is the classic soap opera twist. Nobody at the hospital has the expertise to do this specific surgery. Of course they don't. It's Genoa City. They have a hospital that can do face transplants, but they can't remove an optic nerve tumor. Go figure. So Victoria steps out of the room. She calls Victor. She is panicking, but trying to sound calm. We need your help, Dad. Mom needs surgery ASAP, but no one here can do it. And Victor, being Victor, just says he will handle it. He always handles it. He might be stealing her company out from under her, but he is not going to let her die or go blind. It's that weird Victor Newman logic. He loves her, but he controls her. Nate calls Victor back and says Nikki needs a very specific surgeon, Dr. Virginia Nottingham in New York. And this is where Stephanie Simmons comes in. Stephanie is right there with Nate. She says she knows Dr. Nottingham very well. She says she's brilliant. So Stephanie gets on the phone and calls the surgeon. And then there's this little moment where Stephanie notes how excited Nate gets discussing medicine. Like Nate used to be a doctor, remember? He gave it all up for corporate power, but he still has that medical passion. He says he will do whatever it takes to help Nikki, even indirectly. Back at the hospital, Nick arrives. He finds Victoria. He asks where their mom is. Victoria says she needs more tests, and then she just hugs him. She just hugs her brother. And Nick asks the question we are all thinking. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't anyone tell me how bad it was? And Victoria says he has been through enough lately, which is true. Nick has been through absolute hell with the drug addiction, the crash, the Matt Clark drama. He has been a mess. So Victoria was trying to protect him, but you can see Nick feels guilty. He feels like he should have been there for his mom instead of dealing with his own demons. It's a really touching sibling moment. We don't get enough of Nick and Victoria just leaning on each other without fighting over a CEO chair. They really love each other. They really do. And then Victor arrives. Victor and Claire walk in, and Victor announces that he has secured the best surgeon in the country for Nikki, because of course he did. But I can't help but wonder how is this going to play out when Nikki finds out what Victor did to her estate. She is lying in a hospital bed, terrified of going blind, trusting her husband to save her, and he is saving her life, yes. But he also manipulated her into signing away her shares when she thought she was signing a medical proxy. It is so twisted. The writers are setting up this massive explosion down the line. When Nikki recovers, if she recovers her sight, she is going to see clearly in more ways than one. She is going to see exactly who Victor is, and it is going to be ugly. Really, really ugly. But let's circle back to the Abbott drama because I cannot stop thinking about Diane locked in that house. Jack is on his way to Powers Lake. He is driving out there right now. But Dr. Markham knows he's coming. Patty warned him. So what is Markham going to do? Is he going to move Diane? Is he going to drug her heavily and hide her? Diane is begging for those sleeping pills. She says she isn't trying to overdose. She just wants to focus on her therapy. But we know she just wants an escape. Or maybe Diane is playing him? Okay, hear me out. Diane is a master manipulator. She knows how to play the victim. What if she is asking for the pills to hoard them? What if she plans to use them on Markham? I mean, she already threatened him with a letter opener. She has fight left in her. Actually, yeah, I am changing my mind. I don't believe for a second that Diane Jenkins is just going to lie down and give up. She is too stubborn. She is too much of a survivor. She is plotting something. So we have Jack racing to the rescue. We have Patty thinking she finally won Jack back with that kiss. We have Diane being tortured with the thought of Patty living in her house. And on the other side of town, we have the entire Newman family holding their breath while Nikki faces emergency brain surgery to save her sight. It is a lot. It is a very heavy week. Honestly, I'm exhausted just talking about it. Sometimes I wonder how these characters even function with all this trauma, but that's why we watch, right? We love the drama. We love the chaos. I just hope Nick can stay sober through his mother's health crisis. I hope Jack actually finds Diane before Markham does something drastic. And I really, really hope Victor's lies blow up in his face eventually, because he cannot keep getting away with this. He just can't.